A lot of good lessons from this story. If you are an owner of a classic car that you're restoring, or if you're a mechanic or a restoration company, this is an excellent article about an event that happened that ended up costing somebody millions of dollars because of an improper restoration scheme and a mechanic that was not doing the right thing. In this case, there was a wealthy individual who used to own Angie's List, which is a kind of a contractor type social media platform. And the former CEO had a bunch of classic cars, and he wanted to have them restored and properly brought back to their regular self. So what he did was he worked with a boutique mechanic, somebody who did this type of work on these older cars, and had him work on vehicles. And this mechanic also helped him find some vehicles. Well, over the course of a couple years, he overcharged for service work on multiple rare vehicles, and he also faked some vehicles, right? This is something to watch out for if you are a classic car collector. Make sure that you're checking the provenance of a vehicle. Look, this is somebody who's a CEO of a major company. He had millions of dollars, and he thought he was doing proper due diligence on vehicles. But what happened is he was promised that he was purchasing a very rare Austin Healey 100M sports car, and he told it was a coveted factory model but needed some assembly. Well, come to find out, it was not that type of original factory vehicle. He paid $50,000 for it, and turns out that it was worth nothing. He discovered that the 100M was not a factory 100M as Hillinger, the alleged mechanic, had promised. Hillinger told Bill, the collector, that it would cost $10,000 to assemble and sent Bill an invoice for $130,000. But that wasn't even the worst one, right? The worst one was where he purchased a vehicle for $16,000 and told the work would be done in 1 or 2 years and cost $200,000. 4 years later, the job wasn't completed, but he had bills for $1 million. So these are big numbers, and you might use smaller numbers for your particular scenario. The important thing is, if you are a collector and you're hiring somebody, make sure that they know what they're doing and they have good track record and history. Also, if you're a mechanic, make sure you're managing your restorations properly so you don't get into a situation where you're prosecuted. Look, this mechanic has to pay back $7.2 million, but that's what's called treble damages, because in the state of Iowa where this happened, if you cause damages through fraud, you have to pay back 3 times what you took in. So this mechanic only took in $2.4 million for work over the period of time this happened, but he had to pay back $7.2 million. So he's filing bankruptcy, he'll end up going to jail, and there'll be other financial downside. So make sure that if you're a mechanic, you're managing your affairs properly. If you're a restoration client, that you get constant updates. And if you see things spiraling out of control, maybe consider pulling those vehicles back and either doing it yourself or having another mechanic take over the job.